Now that we've taken a look at using filters and queries, let's start to close this section out by talking about different ways that you can access and view your planner. So here I am still on the ticketing app launch page. And the first method that I want to mention is might be the most intuitive, and that is simply to, if you want to get back to your planner, is simply to jump back to the day that you created your last entry on. That might sound really obvious, but I want to show you a couple of different ways to do that. Number one, you can click up here on this calendar icon in the top right corner of your graph. And I happen to remember that the last entry that I did here was on May 4th. So I'm going to jump to May 4th. And there you go. That is the last entry. And I can always get back to that page simply by doing that. I think I mentioned this earlier in the lesson as well, but I will reiterate it here. If I just click on the back arrow in my browser here, let's go back to that previous page. And let's say I want to jump to that May 4th page again. The fastest way to do it, again, I encourage you to get comfortable with keyboard shortcuts. I am a big user of those personally. And here I can hit Command U, or again, I believe if you're on Windows, Control U. So Command U, that's going to put my cursor into the search bar there at the top of the screen. So Command U to do that. And then if I actually just start typing May 4, you'll see this suggestion here. I'm going to just use the down arrow to get to that suggestion May 4 and hit return. So once again, Command U, start typing the day, and then just use your arrow to go down to that day and hit enter. So that'll always get you back there. That's a fairly intuitive way to get back to your productivity planner. The downside, of course, to that is that you have to remember what day that you put it on. That isn't a huge deal for me because I always do mine on Monday. In this demo, I happen to do it on Wednesday, but in my real graph, I always do these on Monday. So I just know throughout the course of the week, if I ever need to get back to my planner, all I need to do is just type the day for Monday, and it'll put me right back there. If for some reason you don't remember what day you put that last entry on and you want to get back to it, another very easy way to do it is to navigate to the weekly productivity planner page. And you can use the search bar to do that. So you can click up here, or once again, hit Command U as a keyboard shortcut. That'll put your cursor there. And then you can just start typing. Take an opportunity to mention here that Rome's search is really good. So you can start to use shorthand. In this particular example, this may not be useful, but just know that like you can do all sorts of weak plan there, right? And that, so it's using what are called wildcards in the search, fuzzy search, I believe it might be called. In any event, you don't have to type the search result you're looking for exactly, is the point I wanted to make. So you can experiment with different ways of doing that and use more shorthand search phrases to find what you're looking for. So here I'll click on the weekly productivity planner, and that will, of course, get me to the main productivity planner page. Now, what I want to point out here, obviously, is that the entry that you're looking for here, if you're looking for the most recent one, is going to be down here in the linked references section. So a couple of different things you could do from here. You could click on that page to actually go to the page if you want to see it in this view. Nothing wrong with doing it that way. But if I click back on the browser tab here, you can also work straight here in your linked references section. You don't necessarily have to jump to that page. So you can do that either way. So again, a couple of different ways you can access your planner. One other thing that I'll mention here is when you're accessing it from this page, this is a nice view to go to if you want to see a global overview of what you've been working on in your productivity planner over the course of multiple weeks. I can scroll down here and kind of do a review. So maybe if you're doing a monthly review, maybe it's the end of the month and you just want to look at a global view of your weekly planners and kind of remind yourself about where your time went, how your time was spent, do some reflection on that. You could jump to this weekly productivity planner page and take a look at those linked references. Another way that I like to do this frequently is instead of jumping to the entire productivity planner, I might just want to jump to a specific project. So once again, I'm going to hit Command U to go into the search bar. And I'll illustrate that kind of fuzzy search again. I can just start typing C and then maybe app, right? And that's going to bring up the ticketing app launch. So see ticketing app, like all of those are different ways of bringing that search up. So you'll want to get kind of proficient with using the search and experiment with the shortest, most efficient way to get to the result that you're looking for. So I'll hit down and hit return again to jump to that page. You can see here I've got the query that we did in the previous lesson. I'm going to just go ahead and skip over that and jump down to the linked references section. And once again, you'll see all of your entries here. And in this case, you're only going to see your entries that are specific to that project. So if, for example, you wanted to, for whatever reason, take a look back at the history of a given project and see all of your weekly entries for that project, a great way to do that is to jump to the ticketing app page, or I should say the context or project specific page, and go ahead and take a look at those linked references. So those are a few different ways. Again, you can jump to the day where you did the planner. You can jump to the actual productivity planner page. So I can jump here to the day. I could jump here to the actual planner page and see more of a historical view and work in my linked references section. Or once again, I can jump to a specific project if I want to. So that's one of the beauties of Roam. Again, it gives you a bunch of different ways to look at that information. One other related idea here that I want to point out, if we go back to that idea of using your log. So if I jump back here, I'm going to jump back to the productivity planner. I'm going to jump back to the main productivity planner page. And then I'm going to scroll down to one of my entries. And you remember that we've been doing our logging, right? We've created a log in real time that sort of illustrates what it was that we did to work on that project. And so another great thing about doing this is that if I jump to that daily notes page, so if I jump to, let's say in this case, April 29th, I can actually see a view here on April 29th of all of the different action items that I took on that given day. So this is kind of nice if you want to do like maybe a weekly review and just take a look at all of the things that you got done. You can jump out here to your main daily notes page, and you'll notice that if I scroll down in my linked references, you will see a bunch of these log entries here, where if I'm logging my work during real time, I can scroll through my daily notes page and see a bunch of linked references that just kind of remind me what it was that I'm working on and allows me to reflect on how my time is being spent. So that'll do it for this lesson. Again, here we focused on a bunch of different ways to access your planner and look at kind of historical or project specific logs.